Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Into the Podcast. I'm your host Sam and I'm joined each and every week by the beautiful Ryan Chittenden. Say hello, Ryan.
Hey up, duck.
How are you, me pet?
I'm all right, thanks. How are you?
I'm all right, mate, you know, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
happy.
good.
Hay fever's playing up a bit of an itchy eye.
That's annoying. Just
It
the one
is.
eye.
Just the one, yeah, which
Okay.
is even more annoying. Because if it was both, then I could just be like, well, just a bit of hay fever, but I've got one going, and the other one's happy.
Interesting.
Yeah, I should probably take hay fever tablets, but I
That'd probably help.
just can't be asked. They're all the way in that room.
It's a long way away.
I know.
It's a good 2 foot.
Easy 2 foot. But we're not bothered about that, mate. We're not bothered about things that are going wrong. We're here to laugh.
And
We're
have
here
a
to
good time.
fun and have a good time because this week, an absolute rogue one. There's no plan for this at all. It was something that I brought to you, Ryan, a few weeks back because I was reminiscing over kind of childhood and the films that I used to watch as a child and growing up and the comedies that sort of shaped us.
Yes.
So we're talking like late 90s, early 2000s. These films that very outdated now, I guess. and probably couldn't get away
massively.
with a lot of the comedy that are in them. But just the stuff because these films really shaped us. These comedies, and
Yeah.
it's given us the sense of humour that we have today, and the stuff that we find funny today. So I just thought it'd be quite nice to sort of reminisce a little bit and just have a chat over some of the stuff we liked, some of the stuff that we never really got into, and just no plan at all for this episode, just to chat about comedies and reminisce a little bit, which is nice sometimes. I think to just go back in time of a happier day where we didn't have to pay fucking bills,
Yeah,
and go
that's
to
fair.
work, and we got to just watch these films with our friends and laugh and quite. I mean, a lot of the films we're going to talk about are probably still quoted more than anything else in today's. As a 36-year-old man.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. And these films very much shaped a whole generation of people as well. You
Our
know,
generation.
like the films that you'd watch that everyone at school had seen. you know, that would be put on school trips or whatever. Like, you know, those sort of films that like you sit and watch with your mates that, almost take for granted that, like you said, it wasn't until you brought it up, I was like, actually, you forget about these films that are very much part of our upbringing in a lot of ways. Like you said, shaped us probably in more ways than we realise.
Yeah, because we've not really spoke about this, so it was more just to sort of get to know the stuff you watched as well.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're going to be talking a lot of, I don't know, for example, like American Pie, something that was huge growing up.
Oh, massive.
But when you think we were also at a younger age watching films that were a little bit before us, so your Groundhog Days, your Bigs,
Yeah.
you know, Airplane, stuff like that, all films that were just a bit before our generation, but we still grew up on these films. But also have a little bit of a chat of maybe a little bit more as we're growing up, our early adulthood, so your Pineapple Expresses, you know, that type of thing, just the stuff that molded us. So I'll just start with a simple question. Like, what was the stuff you used to watch? What was the stuff that really got you going in your school years?
For school years, I mean, obviously this is like pre-streaming sites, so it was a case of what anyone had on DVD or VHS.
VHS,
Or whatever you rented from like Blockbusters or whatever.
Oh, I miss them days.
I know you're not going to like it, but for me, it was a lot of Adam Sandler.
No, it's fine, and I've made it very clear that I don't like Adam Sandler. He annoys me, and
Yeah.
his whole entourage annoys me. But I did. Little Nicky, Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, or those
Mr. Deeds.
ones. I didn't watch. I've never seen Mr. Deeds, but like certainly Happy Gilmore. That was a film that we watched to death. That was so funny. It's stupid. Obviously, those that haven't seen Happy Gilmore, is a shit hockey player that's not making it at all. He's at like a car boot sale or something, and someone says like, "Why don't you try hitting this with a golf club?" Or the moving house or something. He's like, and he hits it. He smashes it like, God knows, 500-600 yards.
Just got the best drive.
And he's got the best drive. And everyone's like, oh, maybe you should have a go at golf. So he gets into golf because he needs money because his mum's house is getting sold.
That's right, yeah.
So then he becomes like a pro golfer.
The bad boy of golf.
The bad boy of golf because he hates golf.
Yeah.
And it's just like this stuck-up rich man's club. And he's just like, well, he's Adam Sandler. So
Turns up in a hockey jersey, effing and blinding.
Effing and blinding. He's got no etiquette and it's just stupid. And he just learns to play golf, and it's just one of those. It's daft. It's got to be. I'm trying to think what year that would be. Happy Gilmore. I've got to say late 90s.
I probably should have wrote the years down for some of these films because I don't actually remember.
Because Happy Gilmore.
I think Happy Gilmore
96. It was as early as 96. But yeah, that was one that we watched all the time. Like, I can remember staying at my mate Ed's house, and like we'd put that as the sort of film that you put on, fall asleep to, but it was an old school DVD, so it'd just
Carry on playing.
As soon as it finished, it'd go back to the menu and play again.
Yeah.
And so you just wake up at various stages through the night of the film being like in just random places. So yeah, that was definitely one. And then Little Nicky.
Little Nicky's still a banger.
It's so fucking stupid.
It's ridiculous, but I still love it. And this is my problem with Adam Sandler. We'll go back to the film in a minute. Like, I liked it when I was a kid, but he's still doing the same bullshit comedy and the same annoying accent.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. We've evolved as humans.
Absolutely.
There just doesn't seem to be much depth, and you don't need depth when you're a kid watching it.
No.
But then saying that, maybe back then we shouldn't have been watching it as kids. It was more probably for adults anyway.
Yeah.
But I just don't believe he's evolved with everything else when it comes to comedy.
No.
He's not a horrendous actor. Like I say, he's done some great stuff. But yeah, Little Nicky's ridiculous.
Little Nicky's stupid, and I hate everything about it when I was an adult. But as a kid, you get, like you said, you get away with it. It's 2000, Little Nicky.
Was it?
You know, he's what, the son of the devil.
Yeah.
But he's just actually like a nice guy.
Yeah.
And like his dad's dying, who's Harvey Keitel, insane
Madness.
actor. And then you got like his other brothers, and then they're all vying for power, aren't they, to become the next like king of hell or whatever.
Yeah.
And Reese Fans is one, isn't he?
I love Reese Ifans.
He's really good at it.
I love that guy.
But like he plays the Little Nicky. He's got like, because his face got hit with a shovel, was it, by one of his brothers? So he's like, his face is all plays it twisted to the side, talking like that, and it's like fucking ridiculous with his shit hair.
Yeah.
And it's just crap, isn't it? It's just thinking about it now. It's painful.
But it was a banger.
It
back
was, and like that was one of them that you quote all the time. Same with Happy Gilmore. There's like you just, and I don't know. You get away with it. Like what? Doesn't he like drink one of his brothers at one point and have to piss him out? Like some stuff like that. And, you know, it's just like I don't know. I can't even like. I don't even know what to think about it.
It was the first time I'd ever heard of Popeye's chicken.
Yes.
Chicken and biscuits. I'd never heard of that. I didn't know what a biscuit was. And like the first time you come across that sort of stuff, there's the, isn't there a little Frenchie or a pug or something dog?
It's or like a little bulldog or something, isn't it? Yeah. But it's got Carl Weathers in it in both of these.
Yeah.
So in Happy Gilmore, he plays, is it like Chubbs McGee or something like that, who's like, becomes his coach.
Yeah.
But he's lost his hand.
That's right.
Because it was bitten off by a crocodile.
That's right.
So he has a wooden hand. So he had to retire from golf. So he becomes Happy Gilmore's coach.
Yeah.
Is he called Happy Gilmore?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, God. Like, you're testing me now. You can tell we've done no research for this. Just going off a bloody memory.
Yeah, he's got to be. His name's got to be Happy Gilmore.
Yeah. So 96. Still can't believe that.
That's so long ago.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is Happy Gilmore. And then, but he then dies in Happy Gilmore, doesn't he?
Does he get eaten by a crocodile?
Does he fall out the window, or does he get eaten by a crocodile?
I know there's a scene with a crocodile later on in there.
Yeah, but that's when that's when Happy Gilmore sees him, and he's the one that bit off his hand.
Oh, and he wrestles him,
and he wrestles him to get his hand back or something.
Yeah.
But then he falls out the window and dies, and it's really sad. And then he then has a cameo in Little Nicky because he's actually in heaven, and it's the same character. Carl Weathers played Chubbs, who's in heaven. He's just like dancing. He's like, it's all in the hips. So that was his thing, like his catchphrase.
All in the hips.
All in the hips for like when he's trying to teach him to putt. And then it's the same, but he's like now like the dance teacher in heaven with all the angels. It's like, it's all in the hips. Like what the fuck? It's such a niche reference.
Oh God, big
like,
time.
But like, that's what you said. It's sort of like about their entourage and stuff. And just Carl Weathers, who you'd associate as like an action star from like
Absolutely,
Rocky
yeah.
and Predator and stuff, just doing these stupid comedy roles. But it's the quirky characters that made that fun, I think. I was never, even then, that fussed on Adam Sandler, but it was everything else around it, everyone else around him, I think. So
Yeah.
they're ones now that I can't watch.
What about
I can't watch
Billy
them.
Madison? Is that one you watched growing up?
No, didn't watch that one.
I think that was probably the one I saw more than ever. So the idea of, I can't quite remember now, but him and his brother or something, he never finished school. He's from a rich family, and to take over the business, he has to go back and complete 4th grade or something. So he ends up in a kid's school, and he's just a fucking idiot.
Right.
One of those a typical Adam Sandler type films. That was probably the one I watched more than anything. Again, really overly quoted and bits and bobs. But I think this is it. Like, he had such a monopoly of that time for the comedy.
God, yeah, absolutely. The other big one for me that we watched a lot was Big Daddy.
Oh, you know what? I actually quite liked Big Daddy.
Yeah, so that's
I
where
liked that kid. He was quite cool.
yeah. So I've got the synopsis here. Lazy law school graduate adopts a kid to impress his girlfriend, but everything doesn't go to plan. So it's a little bit more heartfelt. That it's not as ridiculous as the others. But yeah, those three were definitely like the Adam Sandler, because that was 1999 as well. So like,
What was Big Daddy?
Big Daddy.
Was it?
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. He had like a monopoly. That was it. Probably his heyday, wasn't it? Adam Sandler.
time,
he was
yeah.
like the bankable comedy star.
Yeah.
That absolutely made a name for himself. Probably over that sort of probably decade period. I think that one will probably still hold up a bit better than the others.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've never, even despite that, I wouldn't say I was a big Adam Sandler fan. But like, like the reviews aren't great for his films. Like Happy Gilmore's the best one because it's got 7. Billy Madison 6.4. Big Daddy 6.4, Little Nicky 5.3.
And again,
which is probably fair.
But again, the years that we enjoyed these was not years we were writing reviews.
Oh
on
God,
IMDb,
no,
do you know
yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely.
Like,
And if we were our age now, if the age we are now and watch them,
we'd be like, "What's this shit?"
we'd be like, absolute shit. This is garbage. But when you're a kid, you didn't care. It was just stupid and fun. And these ones are a little bit silly. So yeah they definitely were part of it.
So what, look up on IMDb the score for this then. Let's talk about American Pie. So American Pie, been done to fucking death now. There's so many that I've never even heard of that are just coming out.
Oh,
but
God.
that film was placed perfectly for like people of our age.
Yes.
Because, let's be honest, it'd be interesting to see what the reviews are on this, because that film came out at a time where what we were interested in were fart jokes, boobies, and shagging.
Yeah,
and that whole film,
masturbating and all those things. It's all that coming of age film. And this encapsulated it perfectly.
Everything. So, to what I remember, I've not seen this film in many, many, many a year. It was a good film. It was silly. Yes, it had the silly jokes. Some good actors in it. I mean, weirdly enough, someone who does the same character over and over again, Sean William Scott.
Yeah.
I love Sean William Scott.
Oh, God,
I do enjoy
and everyone
him.
knows who Stifler is.
Everybody knows Stifler.
And Stifler's mum.
Stifler's mum.
Like,
we literally referenced Stifler's mum 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. So they're references that we'll still make now. Yeah. And yeah, because like American Pie, 1999, 4 teenage boys enter a pact to lose their virginity by prom night.
Yep.
So it's all about just 4 mates wanting to have sex.
Yeah.
Because they're all at school, teenagers. So it's all about, sexual content, sexual jokes. Because as teenage boys, that's all you wanted.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it just captured that sort of time period. And whether it's because it came out for us at that time, but I don't know, like there's a whole generation that everyone knew American Pie, didn't they?
Of course they did. I mean,
it's got, in answer to your question, it's got 7.
Okay,
which is not a bad score.
So not a bad score, really. Because I was wondering then, maybe it was just the era that we was watching it for us, this is what we was interested in.
Yeah.
But okay, that's a pretty reasonable score, But, you think like American Pie, the scene where he's shagging the apple pie. This one time in band camp.
This one time in band camp, is like such a quotable thing. This one time in band camp,
to this day.
Oh no, I know. It should be used for something else like this one time, and you then adapt it to something else. But,
absolutely.
Oh, they're all like so many people like you just associate. You see them and you go, "Oh my god, it's Jim! Oh, it's Jim's dad." Like Eugene Levy, who's actually a massive actor and done loads, but
it's Jim's dad.
Yeah,
the Shermanator.
The Shermanator, yeah. Tara Reid in that film as well.
Yes.
Like it was everyone's crush, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I mean, to be fair, probably the only one that really did well to break away from that mold was Alison Hannigan, who was Michelle, so Jim's girlfriend.
Yes. Yeah.
So she obviously she was massive in Buffy because she was Willow in Buffy, and then was gone on to be That's How I Met Your Mother and stuff. So she's the only one that I would say is really broken away from the American Pie mold. I know the others have been in other stuff.
Yeah, there was the one...
Sean William Scott's probably a different one.
Yeah, but there was... I can't remember the actress's name. She played the lesbian in it, but she went on to do like Russian Doll and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
She's getting a bit big. She's getting a bit of a resurgence now of doing a little bit more.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name. But yeah, I mean... That has been done to death, and American Pie 2 still just as good.
Yeah,
3 was a little bit more silly. Is that the one where he shits in the?
3 was The Wedding. I've got it. I've got them here. So it's American Pie 2, American Pie The Wedding. Then
that's Jim's wedding, isn't it?
Yeah. Then it's Presents Band Camp, The Naked Mile,
After 3.
Beta House, The Book of Love, and then The Reunion, which is. Oh, and then there's been another one, American Pie Girls Rules.
Okay,
which
so
came
I've
out
seen
in 2020. So it's still like a franchise that's getting absolutely flogged to death. I think the original cast are basically in 1, 2, The Wedding, and then The Reunion, and the others are all spin-offs.
I watched The Reunion. I did watch that one. I remember liking The Wedding, actually. Bear in mind, I was a little bit older at that stage.
2003. I actually thought it was a little bit later, so it was only 4 years
later
after the original one.
Okay, so it was still quite young then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think of the time, they were probably some of the biggest comedies at the time.
Oh, God, yeah. And like I said, there's a whole generation, our generation watched that. Like, I remember going on school trips. Like, I never had a DVD or anything, but it's one of them, like, you'd watch it with mates or on school trips because, like, we did quite a few at our school where you'd go abroad. So if you went to, like, I don't know, Austria or Italy, you'd be on a coach for 36 hours.
Yeah.
So the staff would just stick on American Pie, even though we were probably, like, 12. So there's a whole coach of kids that are ranging from like 11 to 16-year-olds all watching American Pie.
Yeah.
But you never get away with that like, these days because of the age thing, I'd imagine. They were just like, yeah, stick it on because all the kids are watching that.
Blink-182 are in that film, aren't they?
Yeah.
But they're all watching the scene where Jim prematurely ejaculates, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was like, damn, and it's that monkey that covers his eyes.
It's just... stupid stuff, but again, there was a whole generation of comedy and movement, like it's like Blink-182, that the sort of punk rock bands were big in the time. The skater scene,
big time. Actually,
it was all like
because the Offspring did quite a few of them. They did like Idle Hands and stuff. If you remember that film,
yeah. So, it's just that whole time period, wasn't it? Where it was like baggy jeans and skated chains and stuff and. But then obviously they're playing on the stereotypes and all that as well. So you'd have the jocks and whatever. It was so good fun. But again, one that maybe the first one would still hold up quite well, but not so much some of the others. But
Okay.
Just crazy, just fun.
So there are other films sort of around this. I'm going to change pace ever so slightly in a moment. But, things like Road Trip.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean...
I really enjoyed Road Trip as well.
That skinny dude.
What's it called? Like, yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I can't remember. There's one where... Is it Sex Tape or something like that? But all of them were sort of around that age. Freddy Got Fingered.
Yeah.
Weird-ass film that was.
There was a lot of them around that time. They're very similar. They're all coming-of-age films is what I'd say. Like, your high school coming-of-age. It's all about sex, really, and growing up. And
that's it. Sex is a big part of it, isn't it?
It's puberty and sex and all that theme.
Yeah.
So again, for us, these films are all coming out at the perfect time because that was what was happening for us. That we were coming of age as we were watching these coming of age films.
We are still virgins ourselves, wanting to lose our virginity, still looking at wank mags, that type of situation.
So and that's these films are probably relatable to our whole generation.
Absolutely.
That's why we probably all latched onto them. Or I don't know if this generation of people growing up, do they have films that are coming out similar? I don't know if they do.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to have these conversations with like 18-year-olds now.
Yeah, like
what did you watch?
What did you watch? What's coming out? Or like for them, it'd probably be even like 10 years ago. Because it'd be interesting. Like, is that just something that? Well, that was a moment in time. All these films, that era, like the MTV scene and all that.
Massive,
was that just a moment where that was all big and hit just our generation, and now this next generation have got something else completely different?
Yeah, or maybe they don't have anything like that.
And maybe the demand for that isn't anymore, because especially with like your bloody sexual content and stuff, like, and everyone's got phones and could just get on porn and whatever they want. That were nothing like that when we were kids.
Absolutely that, and social media.
Yeah.
So because let's be honest, we didn't have your Facebooks and your Instagrams.
No.
So we didn't have like. We wasn't consuming like that.
No.
We wasn't consuming this type of stuff. And again, yeah, like you say, if we want to see porn, we would find my dad's porn mag. Or, do you know what I mean? Like, or randomly, everyone found a porn mag in a forest. Everyone did. I did. Well, weirdly enough, I found mine in a park across the road from my school, which was very weird. Odd. Looking back at it, but everyone found a porn mag at some point. Do you know what I mean? Growing up now, like, you can access that very early. Everyone has phones.
Anyone that's got a phone can access that. So yeah, maybe there isn't the demand for like the sexual content and stuff. And
I've
maybe
never thought about this. This is so interesting.
And maybe kids are just much more grown up because they're exposed to so much more than we were as kids.
Definitely.
You'd be watching films and pausing it at the boob scene because that's what you'd be getting. That's all you could get your hands on.
Oh, this is so interesting, man. I've never thought of it like this before. Yeah, we are so old.
We are, but like, yeah, that's what I mean. Like
these kids these days,
no.
You didn't know what it was like having dial up, having to fucking log out of MSN Messenger so your mum can make a phone call.
I know. Tough times.
It was tough times. Right, I want to change pace ever so slightly, but should we stop and have a little snacky snoo?
Yeah, let's do that.
Getting a bit peckish, mate. All this talk of masturbation is getting me angry. It was weird. I was like, right, because I like my segues. I like to try and find segues to slip into stuff. It was really hard to get from shagging and boobs and masturbating to snack. So we're just going to go straight in for it. Speaking of sexy things, Drew. There you go. There's the segue. Drew, sing us in, baby.
Here come Sam and Ryan, listen to them both speak. They've come 2 hours on with their pop culture critique. But are you even a nerd if you don't overread? So come on, everybody, it's the snack of the week.
Thank you, Drewski. Ryan, tell the people where they can hear more Drew Flanagan of Drew Flanagan music.
Anywhere that you can consume music. Spotify.
Oh, my God.
Apple Music.
Yes, boy.
Amazon Music.
I use that.
YouTube.
Not YouTube. I bet you can watch him on that as well. Look at his pretty little face.
You can watch his pretty little face sing his pretty little songs.
Oh, God, if only he did live shows.
Well, funny that you should mention that, because he does do live shows.
No way.
Yes. And if you follow him on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook,
maybe X, I don't know.
Drew Flanagan Music, he will post when he's playing a live show, and maybe he'll be come to a town near you.
And you can go see him, because we did recently and we bloody loved it.
Damn right.
Do it. Let's eat. Right. I've got us. These are British staples, my friend.
Are they?
Oh, mate, you're telling me you've never had these before?
I think I have, yeah.
Now, these are up there with, like, scampi fries and the bacon, whatever they were. Not Frazzlers, but the ones you can buy in pubs.
Yeah.
They make banging crisp sandwiches, by the way, than bacon ones. The best crisp sandwich I've ever made. So these are Burton's fish and chips with lashings of salt and vinegar. Just fish and chip.
Flavoured baked
snacks that look like fish and chips.
Yeah.
I've not had these since I was a kid. And I
No.
saw them in a shop the other day, obviously Pound Stretcher, because I was supposed to do all my shopping.
Very salt and vinegary.
And I was like, I need to get these, mate. I was going to buy them for me, and I was like, well, we may as well snack them, haven't we?
Yeah, and they're shaped like little
fish and chips, which is great, isn't it? So you know what you're eating.
Yeah, I've got a little chip here.
Let's go. Do you like salt and vinegar crisps anyway?
Yeah, I do. I do like salt and vinegar. Do you?
I love it, yeah. Now, these are caked in
absolutely.
salt and vinegar.
Caked.
Oh,
You pick them up and it's like
Everywhere.
there's a whole layer of salt and vinegar on my fingers.
What you think? Now the problem is I'm not eating today yet, and it's lunchtime,
Yeah,
so I'm enjoying these 'cause I'm hungry.
yeah.
What are you thinking?
Flavour's great.
Yeah, so flavoursome.
And it's nice that they're like baked snacks as opposed to crisps
Yeah,
because they're thicker.
thicker, more to chew on. Suck them if you want. Get all that flavour off, then you just have like a nice stodgy bit in your mouth. Oh, these are as good as I remember.
Yeah.
And you say, so you have had these before?
Can't remember when last time then. Probably when I was a kid.
How horrendous are they for you?
Oh, they've got to be absolutely awful.
No. Not the worst.
Not the worst.
No, you know what? You won't feel that guilty having a bag of these.
No.
There's definitely worse out there.
Oh god, you couldn't have more than one bag though.
Oh,
could you?
no. But one bag's enough.
Yeah.
They have that much flavour to them. And you get quite a lot in a bag for a little bag.
Yeah.
There you have one bag and you're like, yeah, that sounds. I've got my fish and chips. That's all I needed.
So where are you rating them on our tier system?
I'm going love that.
Really?
I am, yeah. I'm
Wow.
really enjoying this. What about you?
I'm enjoying them. I am enjoying them, but I think I'm enjoying more because I'm hungry. It's lunchtime.
That's the problem, isn't it?
So I think I'll put them in tier 3. I'd have them again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I wouldn't go out and buy them, but if someone offered to me, I'll have them again.
You know what? I'll come down.
Yeah.
I'll come down to your lightning because I think you're right. I am starving.
Yeah.
So I feel it might just be that. And actually, thinking about it, if I was to go to Sainsbury's tomorrow,
Yeah.
would I pick these up? Probably not. I'd go something else, like
Yeah.
a Quaver.
Fucking love Quaver.
Love a Quaver, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, good.
Nice little snack.
Well, good that. Oh, gone. Just need to lick my fingers now. 'Cause
Yeah.
Can't carry on like this.
God no. I've just got a few little chips left.
Nice.
Lovely.
Right. And there's a reason I chose this episode to do the snack on.
Okay.
Nice segue, mate. Nice British staple right there.
Yeah.
Fish and chip Chris. To a British staple comedy. Ali G.
Ali G.
Growing up with Ali G,
Yeah.
the TV show, which in its right was maybe a little bit more advanced for us because, there was certain, he was interviewing David Beckham and Posh and stuff, but he was
Oh, yeah.
interviewing politicians and shit,
Yeah.
which was a little bit above our
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah.
Ali G in the house, my friend. What a banger. I watched that film about 2 years ago and I still laugh the whole way through it.
Nice.
It's ridiculous,
Yeah.
but again, so quotable. I still do that thing, when he drives past the police and he just sticks up his V.
Yeah, yeah.
I still do that today,
I know,
I'm
it's
still
so
like,
funny.
"Yeah,
Yeah.
well."
Oi.
Hey, look.
Yeah, it's so funny. I was never a massive Ali G fan.
Would you not?
No.
Are you a fan of Sacha Baron Cohen?
I'm not a huge fan. Like, I
Okay.
can take... I've got nothing against him. I can take or leave him.
Okay.
It was the same when like Borat came out. People just fucking loved it and like went mental for it and like were just quoting it all the time. I just found it a bit too stupid.
bit silly.
I think I prefer Ali G to Borat.
As a character?
Yeah. Because they're just playing on stereotypes, aren't they? Again. Like,
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
like-
I mean,
and-
Bruno. Remember when Bruno came out?
Bruno, yeah. So I can very much take or leave Sacha Baron Cohen. I think he's very clever at what he does, and he's very talented. And it just perhaps wasn't my sort of comedy. And like I said, for Ali G, I was probably too young to
For the TV show or the film?
for the TV show.
TV show, yeah.
So then, by the time the film came out, I wasn't invested in the character.
Yeah, I think, again, nowadays, this has really blown my mind, mate. But nowadays, something like that, a character like that would be everywhere because it would be all over socials.
Yeah,
Whereas you caught Ali G the time frame he was on the telly.
Yep.
So I'll be honest, I didn't know a lot of Ali G when In the House come out. We knew what he was, we knew his look, we knew some of his quotes, like Booyaka Shower and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
We were all saying that as kids. But that film, it really did something to me.
Right.
It was silly. It was, and I'm bearing in mind I'm a fucking country bumpkin technically. I'm in the Shire.
yeah.
But this was
yeah,
like,
same.
East End of London's or whatever, like just all a bit silly, like fake gangsters. I mean, Martin Freeman
Martin, yeah.
is like his little sidekick in it. But I mean, like I say, I loved it as a kid. It was so quotable. But rewatching it now, and just some of the silly things that I still relate to, like when they're about to storm that house and he's got them all together, they're all wearing the different coloured like camo.
Yeah.
And they do the chain with the electric because they're all wearing rubber-soled sneakers. But it's the bit where he turns up and he's like, "Sorry, I was late. There was a TV show about monkeys and I watched that first," or whatever. And like, I remember fucking watching that like 2 years ago and being like, "That's me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm late. There's a TV show on about monkeys and I got well invested." So that's why I'm really late for this really important thing.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah.
so stupid.
But I mean, I think I did watch Bruno. I wasn't into that. Borat I did find very funny. And I think, like I say, what he does is very clever because and dangerous in some aspects.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
He takes these characters to fucking right-wing Americans in a way that, like, extremists.
Yeah.
And really plays on it and puts himself in
Oh, he
dangerous
does. Yeah,
situations.
playing with fire a little bit, isn't he?
He does play with fire, but he does it so well. And in a way, you know, he is taking the piss out of these people. You know, I'm sure he's done some stuff with, like, neo-Nazis or the KKK or something. Like he gets involved in some of these really dangerous people and puts it forward for our entertainment, which is fucking ridiculous and stupid, really, isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Like when you think about it, for entertainment purposes. But yeah, I don't, because a lot of what we're talking about are all American films. It's all very American.
Yes.
I had to bring it back because Ali G was our childhood in this country.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he's still rocking it now. I mean, if Ali G turned up and I'm sure he still does speeches as Ali G now.
Probably.
All these
He's
years
got all
later.
these characters, hasn't he, that he can just flick between. Sticking with British then, one that very different British comedy that came out when we were kids.
I think I know where you're going.
Johnny English.
Interesting. I thought it was a bit earlier than that. Same actor,
Mr. Bean.
Mr. Ben. I was thinking Blackadder.
Yeah,
I thought
see,
he was gonna go Blackadder.
I love Blackadder, but then I feel like that's really not our generation.
No, it
because
was a bit before us, but
it
I
was
grew up
before-
on that.
Oh, same. I absolutely grew up on that. Like, that was the sort of thing that was put on in school. They'd wheel out the TV and video player that was on like a little stand that was on wheels. You know,
Yeah.
if you had like a supply teacher, or it was the end of the school year, so
Yeah.
it was like, it's the last week before you break up for
Fuck
summer.
teaching these kids.
We're just putting Blackadder on. Yeah, so Blackadder is very much part of my childhood comedy. The only reason I wasn't going to go there because it didn't come out as we were growing up, and I thought that's
yeah.
a bit more what we're going for. But Blackadder, absolutely. Just Rowan Atkinson.
Oh,
Blackadder,
big time.
Mr. Bean, Johnny English, he's very much part of my childhood
Your
comedy.
wheelhouse, yeah. So talk me through Johnny English then, because I never actually watched it, and I'll tell you for why. And I had this growing up a lot because I wasn't majorly into film, like major into film. If I had something in my head of what somebody was, I couldn't watch him in anything else. So I was like, it's with Daniel Radcliffe. I've said this before.
Yeah.
He was Harry Potter until I started getting into film. Rowan Atkinson was Mr. Bean. So I'm not watching him in a comedy spy film.
Yes.
So Mr. Bean, fucking, we literally spoke about American Pie.
Yeah.
And then you come to Britain and we have Mr. Bean films.
Oh,
and
I know,
you know,
yeah.
the most offensive thing is just him doing the middle finger to everyone.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's so different.
It's so different.
But it's much
but-
more slapstick, and it's
So-
a little bit
yeah.
more child friendly, and it's still
Definitely.
funny though. But like Johnny English, I remember we went to see that on a school trip. I think we just went out to like probably the end of the school year. You just like went to the cinema, and came out in 2003. So obviously he plays that works for MI7.
Okay.
So it's like, and you know,
offshoot.
he's a spy, and he's basically a piss take. It's like a satire, is that right? Like satirical. I don't know if that's the right word. Parody is what I'm thinking of. It's a parody of James Bond.
Yeah, of course.
Because obviously that was at the time where, you know, you were getting your ridiculous Bond films. It was like Die Another Day had come out, and like fucking Pierce Brosnan's got an invisible car and shit, and it's just stupid. So 2003, it came out at the right time, and we went to school on a school trip. I was like 13, so I can remember seeing that. And then that was another one that me and Ed used to watch all the time. Same as Happy Gilmore. We had it on DVD, and it would stick it on, fall asleep to it, and it'd just be playing all night. John Malkovich is the bad guy, who's
Right.
basically this French businessman who is secretly taking out the royal family or blackmailing them to get rid of them. and then is trying to take the throne of England.
Right, okay.
So- and Johnny English, played by Rowan Atkinson, is in the middle of it trying to stop it all. It was
Right.
very
It's
slapstick,
ridiculous,
stupid. But again, it just came at that time where it would not hold up now. But it was, Rowan Atkinson. So we'd all grown up on Blackadder and Mr. Bean. So he was a familiar face. So that worked quite well. It's burnt in my memory, but I can still remember watching on telly, someone was doing an interview with him, and it was like obviously promotion for the film, and they're like, "Oh, how was it? How did you find acting in like a speaking role? Because obviously, like Mr. Bean doesn't speak and stuff." And Rowan Atkinson was like, "Most of my stuff's speaking."
Yeah,
Like-
that's one character.
Like I was in Blackadder and all these other things for years and years and years, and it was like the interviewer had only ever seen Mr. Bean and didn't know him as anything else, and it was the most stupid. It stuck with me because I was like, even as a kid, I was like, that's fucking stupid. What a stupid question. And even like Rowan Atkinson was like, what are you talking about? Like, don't you know anything about me? I'm not just Mr. Bean. Weird.
Why are you interviewing me?
Yeah. They did a second Johnny English film, Johnny English Reborn, but that was a lot later. I think I just had a quick look. It was like 2011.
Oh, wow.
But again, like by that point, the whole generation. I think I still went to see it, but it didn't land the same because you've gone from being like a bloody 13-year-old watching it and thinking, even as a kid, it's like it's just a silly slapstick comedy. But then, like as a 21-year-old, it's like, this is not what I'm into at all. And that's such a big gap between like, I don't know, but.
And it's a big risk with them. So going to probably a little bit later on for us. So a big risk in what you just said there is if you look at films like Zoolander, Anchorman, staples of comedy, probably to a little bit older us, but years and years and years later, they brought out the sequel to them films. Anchorman 2 and Zoolander 2 were so long, because they were such cult classics that there was an outcry for more.
But I think that's
and
the
it
thing
was so dangerous to do.
Yeah.
Did you see them both?
I've not seen the second Zoolander, but I've seen Anchorman 2.
Yeah. You know what? They're never going to be as good as the originals.
No.
But they weren't horrendous.
Oh,
they
no,
did
absolutely
the
not.
job.
There's still some great scenes in the second Anchorman and stuff. So, but the difference there is they had the cult following, whereas I don't think Johnny English has got a cult following.
It was your year 8 fucking class. That was the cult following.
Yeah, exactly. And even then, we were just like, it's just shit.
Yeah.
But I'm going to mention these briefly because we talked about them a lot. But in terms of comedy, the older me coming out of like into my proper teens and then late teens, British comedies, it's all about the Cornetto trilogy.
Oh God, yeah.
Shaun of the Dead, 2004, Hot Fuzz, 2007. World's End to a lesser extent, again, because we're older, but those two in particular are probably the most quoted films in my repertoire.
Oh, we said this in our Edgar Wright episode.
An Edgar Wright episode. And I don't want to go into lots of detail because we spoke about that. So go back and listen to the Edgar Wright episode of the Cornetto trilogy.
The episode's called Edgar Wright, I think. So go listen to it. You can't miss it.
Yeah. So I don't want to talk about. They were huge in shaping my comedy style. Because again, I was probably a little bit older, like 14, 17. Went to the cinema to see Hot Fuzz. Loved it, and that's one of those films. And Shaun of the Dead, I could watch. Even now, say Shaun of the Dead's 20 years old, it's still holds up so well.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing, isn't it? Like the difference between a lot of the American comedies we're talking about and then coming home to the British ones is the comedy, it's totally different. It's dry wit.
Yes.
Is what we're getting. And I totally understand it from an American's point of view of being like, why do you find this shit funny? The ones that get it are into it.
Oh, yeah.
Americans.
Absolutely.
When they are into, I mean, just look at The Office.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that they adopted that is beyond me because The Office is not normally something an American audience would overly find funny because it's very dry.
Mm-hmm.
But so I totally understand why an American would maybe not like our comedy because it's just completely different to them. Like the comedy is put right in their face, whereas our comedy can be missed,
Yes.
because it's that dry and that sort of under the radar. But that's what we grow up with, and that's the comedy that we get, and we are quite dry fuckers.
And
anyway,
I think
aren't we?
that's why it holds up as well, because it's less slapsticky. Like it's more like that. Yeah, he said that subtle, dry sarcasm, that wit, those offhand comical lines and jokes that still hold up. They're classic. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now, like as a kid, I don't want to see Mr. Bean or like Johnny English, like him fumbling around and like doing stupid stuff, like very physical comedy. I'm not interested in that. Yeah.
So you mentioned something just whilst we was grabbing our snacks. Then something that really moulded probably most kids of our age. Jackass.
Oh, Jackass was huge as a kid, as when growing up.
So obviously we've got the TV show, the MTV TV show, but we did get the movie spin-offs from that as well. So I think it's right for us to bring this in. Because obviously when it comes to the TV show, we then had our Welsh counterpart of the Dirty Sanchez, which was that on fucking crack.
Yeah.
Because they were stapling their testicles to bricks for no reason.
I know, but I feel like with Dirty Sanchez, it didn't have the charm of the other ones, and like they were trying to be more extreme.
Oh, and they were.
But like, you know, it's just a bit like, I don't know, you're just doing extreme stuff for the sake of it, whereas, I don't know, the Jackass guys seem to be having more fun. It was more about having fun and taking the piss and doing stupid stuff, whereas these guys were like, let's do the most extreme thing because that'll get us the most attention.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, let's staple my ball bag to the table, and then someone else can fucking do something to it, or like stick a nail through it. And they're all just, I just felt like they were doing, it was all just screaming in pain and be like, ah! It was just a bit, I don't know. It didn't do it as much for me.
It didn't. I still watched it, and I still did quite enjoy it. I think I had it on DVD, and I did quite enjoy it because it was the extreme, and I've always quite liked that type of stuff. But you are right. Like, you know, the difference between stapling your bollocks to a bit of 2x4 and then pushing your mates down 4 steps in a shopping trolley.
Yeah.
Because I know which... And the thing is, as well, with the Jackass movies and stuff, don't try this at home. There's professionals here. We're trying this shit at home.
Oh, we're all doing that. We were all doing that as kids, like in the park, or like, you know, going in, putting each other in shopping trolleys, or doing daft stunts, or trying to do flips off of something, or because you're being kids.
And we were all filming it.
Yeah,
we were
like
all filming it, trying to be the
bricks.
Next big thing. Yeah, literally, I had this fuck-off camcorder that I used to take with me when I was a kid in the park next to where my mum and dad still live now, and there was this like big like statue thing, but there's a few steps and we're all jumping off them and kicking the ball at each other like, oh, you got him, you know, like stupid, ridiculous stuff. But that all came from this one idea of getting together with your friends. And again, it was all the MTV skater scene, but getting together with your friends and just being idiots.
Yeah, and that was it. Like, that was a huge thing when we were kids growing up. And I love Jackass, and still, what Jackass 4 came out last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah, we watched that last time we got drunk at ours. Didn't we?
And so like I still could quite happily stick them on because a lot of it's just a bit fun and a bit silly. Yeah, that was good fun. But again, all part of that MTV era, the skater scene, which was just huge. That moment in time.
Oh, absolutely.
It was just a movement then.
Oh, big movement as well, and it'll always stay. We will always have that type of stuff now, but it will just never be done like Jackass did it.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's almost been and gone. It's had its moment in the sun, and then
right time, right place.
Yeah,
wasn't
that's it. Yeah,
absolutely. So another, fucking still going. So I'm pretty sure there's a new one. So another franchise that was huge and gave birth to a lot of other things would be the Scary Movie films.
Oh, massive.
So we grew up in these, and obviously it gave birth to a lot of terrible parody. So from that we had the superhero movies, the disaster movie, you know, all these things.
There was that Meet the Spartans or something and stuff. Like, there's loads of spin-offs.
Awful films.
Again, a bit like American Pie. Scary Movie 1 was the original one, and it was great. Like, it was just a parody of basically Scream. But it worked because it tapped into all the things that American Pie was tapping into. Yeah. It was tapping into that coming-of-age stuff. It was all about sex. It was all about... But it was more emphasis on, like, the fart jokes and, like, the silly over-the-top and taking the piss out of the horror films. And it just worked quite well. You got these crazy characters. So it's just a bit of a hybrid of it all, and it knew exactly what it was supposed to be, and that was great. Scary Movie 2 as well, I love as well, with
in the Haunted Mansion.
The Haunted Mansion.
Take my strong hand.
I think that's one of those misquoted things. I don't think he actually ever says "take my strong hand."
Oh, really?
I think it's one of those things that all of us know that quote of our generation.
Yeah, because the quote from that actually always was me was "my germs."
My
He shoves
germs.
his hand in the mashed potato.
Yeah.
I used to do that all the time. So when I'd be eating something, I'd just grab him like "my germs."
Oh, so that was just so much fun, and they played on all those things that, like the American Pies, like the scary movies, the screams and stuff, because it was just all the sex jokes on crack, wasn't it? I can remember they finally have sex, but the main couple, but he's been waiting so long to have sex that when they do have sex and he ejaculates, it sends her to the top of the ceiling, and she's just getting like a
fire hydrant.
like a fire hydrant worth of sperm just pinning her to the ceiling.
We'd not seen shit like that before.
Oh no, of course
because
we
right
hadn't.
before that, he goes down on a dunny. He's got to get the shears out to cut a puke.
Yeah, because she won't let anyone go near her. So it's just these extreme things that are just really tapping into everything that was happening at that time.
Is it the first one where one of the Wayans is in the back seat of a car with his missus, and then his friend is, and they're both snogging each other's missuses, and he's like, "Oh, I love it when you play with my ass," and it's his mate, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, bro," and he pulls his finger out.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And it's just so many gay jokes in there as well.
Oh god,
just
yeah.
between I can't remember that guy's name, but the Wayans brother and this guy, and it was just constant and again one joke after another after another.
Yeah, it was.
Just go. But the parody aspect of it was brilliant. And I remember being quite excited for films like Meet the Spartans, the disaster movie, superhero movie, because I was like, I love this idea of parodying just good films. So parodying Scream, Haunted Mansions. I mean, they did Signs, didn't they? I think that was the fourth Scary Movie 4, maybe. They did Signs.
3 or 4, yeah.
I love this idea of parodying them, but they just never, because they got worse as they went on.
Of course they did.
They never sort of hit what 1 and 2 had.
No.
But
again, I think it's just a perfect moment in time that
Absolutely.
they captured that.
But they're bringing out another one. I'm not sure what the parody in this time, but I did get told that they're bringing out another one.
2000 Scary Movie. So yeah, it's
Was
literally
it?
taking the piss out the American Pie and Scream that's come out not long before that. I mean, the 5 Scary Movies has been.
Has it? 5? Yes. So I'm trying to think what they were. Can we remember? Can we remember which one was which? So first one was Scream. Second one was the Haunted Mansion.
3 was. I'm going to look at it. I don't know if I remember. It's 3 Signs.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it is, because it's Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen,
and
that
he's
was
basically like Mel Gibson's character from Signs, isn't it?
That's it. 4 looks like. Oh God, I'm looking at the thingy. So there's. Oh, it looks like War of the Worlds. There's things of Saw and stuff in there, and fuck knows what 5 was. What was 5?
God knows.
Never saw that. Charlie Sheen's in it again. Oh, Mike Tyson's in it. Snoop Dogg's in it.
Of course, they're all getting the
They're all in
cameos,
it.
aren't they?
Yeah, I definitely never saw 5. But yeah, the first 3. I mean, I remember watching 3 and being like, it's losing it a bit.
Oh yeah,
'Cause I loved Signs.
1 and 2 were the best 2, I think.
Yeah.
3 was okay, but it just didn't. They just couldn't capture what they had in the first 2.
No, definitely not. Just having a look at. I just wrote a few films and stuff down, but I also wrote some actors down. Just the guys that really sort of made this for us growing up. So Owen and Luke Wilson.
Yeah,
Massive part of comedy back then, wasn't it?
yeah,
The
they had,
Wilson brothers.
especially with and Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller. They were a big pairing, weren't they? Because they had Zoolander. They had. What else did they have? They had like a whole run of things like Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah. Oh God, they did, didn't they? Yeah.
Which is a comedy duo that's lasted through the time, because obviously still in they were in Night at the Museum and stuff.
Yeah.
So they ran on
yeah.
for a long time.
again, a lot of these sort of comedy actors, they stick together. They have their. I mean, my favourite is Franco and Rogan. Like, I love their entourage of all the people they have in together. They have, what's his name? Not Buscemi, something, whatever, the J thingy. The guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The chubby black guy. What's his fucking name?
Don't know.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, they have a lot. Like, James Franco and Seth Rogen. Again, they were a little bit more like when we get into our late teens, weren't they?
That's why I didn't bring them up.
Yeah, but you get a lot of the groupings and the entourages together.
Big one growing up, Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
Cable Guy, Dumb and Dumber. Chuck's Mother's out there. Ace Ventura,
actually.
I mean, these were all
we've missed
big
this
ones.
whole chunk. Yeah, I wasn't as massive. For me, there's a whole load there. Bruce Almighty was a massive one. That was one.
Yeah.
Again, that was a film that end of school year, the teacher's sticking on Bruce Almighty.
Quite inoffensive,
yeah,
but very funny.
So Jim Carrey is a huge one. Massive actor. That's very much. There's going to be so many that we've missed because we're talking about a whole childhood's worth of films.
Oh God, absolutely. I mean, getting on a bit. So again, more later teens. Your Vince Vaughn's, your Will Ferrell's, so your old schools, Wedding Crash, Dodgeball. What a fucking film!
Yeah,
like that. That is my era of comedy.
Oh,
right
I love that. Like, and that's another one you can still quote. Like, if you could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball.
What is it? Duck, dodge, dive, dodge.
Remember the 5 Ds of dodgeball? Dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge again or something.
He's fucking whacking wrenches in his face.
Steve the Pirate in that is the best character. Alan Tudyk is one of my favourite actors, and he's so good in that.
He's hilarious.
He is hilarious. He's going to a Comic-Con near us in November. He's going to For the Love of Horror
in
Liverpool.
Oh, Liverpool.
Or Manchester. I think it's Manchester, actually. I think they moved to Manchester.
Manchester's easier to get to.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Him and the guy... Have you ever seen Ash and Tucker versus Evil? Not Ash and Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Years and years ago, yeah.
Brilliant parody comedy.
Yeah, it's a zombie, isn't it? Is it a zombie?
No. So it's a piss take of like the whole Evil Dead sort of thing. So it's they play two hillbillies that are like just two normal brothers that or best mates, and they just live out in the wild, like in the cabin.
Yeah,
they're normal, like lovely blokes. And then there's a group of friends that go out, like the start of every horror film, to go rent a cabin in the woods, and they keep bumping into Tucker and Dale, but they'll be caught in the middle of doing something completely innocent, but they'll perceive it as like, oh my God, they're like chopping a deer's head off or whatever, and like stupid stuff. So then they end up trying to kill Tucker and Dale.
Yeah.
It's such a clever like comedy. That was a little bit later, I think. But that's a really good one. But
another one then, the Wayans brothers. I mean, they really sort of capitalised on what they had. I mean, White Chicks, what a film. Little Man, I really enjoyed Little Man, to be fair. What else have we got with them? No Money, Six Man.
White Chicks?
Just said White
Oh,
Chicks.
sorry.
Said White Chicks. Then obviously they were scary movies.
They were mainly out. It's hard to keep track of all the Wayans brothers. There's so many of them.
Oh, and it's so weird, because obviously I know the Wayans brothers as Scary Movie, as White Chicks, blah, blah, blah. So recently when we watched Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, God, yeah.
Is it Marlon Wayans?
That's Marlon,
yeah. To see Marlon Wayans in such a
serious role.
film. And he was brilliant in it.
Oh, he's so good in it,
I couldn't believe what I was watching.
I know.
I was like, I've never seen you like this before. I've not seen a lot of Marlon Wayans films that aren't like just
piss take,
silly comedies.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that was absolutely mad. Robin Williams.
Yeah, you know what? Again, that's a whole host of comedy that I suppose I would probably put them more under family-friendly films, comedy.
They were. I'm just looking at films that...
Yeah, but like Mrs. Doubtfire, Jumanji...
Yeah. These are all the films I'm showing my daughter now at 6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So they're a little bit more family-friendly rather than like a lot of these, what we talked about, like sort of coming age comedies.
Definitely. I just thought we can't talk about childhood comedies and not give them a nod.
There's so
Like
many,
I say,
yeah.
That's what I was watching early.
Absolutely.
I mean, even things like Big. I remember watching that really young.
I'd still never seen all of Big.
Have you not?
No.
That's a banger, mate. You
Yeah.
need to watch Big.
That's like it's sort of like your 80s, isn't it?
Yeah.
Big, I think.
What about Arnie in his action comedies?
I saw a little bit. I don't think I've seen them all the way through. I was very much brought up on action Arnie. So like Jingle All the Way, Twins. What else have we got?
But these are action comedies, though, aren't they? Like
Yeah.
Kindergarten Cop.
Kindergarten
mate.
Cop,
That
that's
was a
the other one.
banger.
Oh, yeah.
I loved that film.
Yeah,
growing up.
so I didn't experience them as much now. So they weren't dipped in and out. But
Yeah, you see, growing up, that was my Arnie. I wasn't watching.
I very much
I wasn't
grew up
watching
on
Predator and Terminator. and
I
stuff.
had all that. Yeah, Commando.
I watched all of them as an older person, like because again, I wasn't into film. I was into just laughing, and so it was I watched all comedy or horror was the only things I watched. As soon as I got into horror, that was me, and I watched that. And then if I want to watch something different, it would be some sort of silly comedy. And it was only sort of as an older guy that I got into film and started seeing it. So that's when I started picking up. How have I never seen Terminator?
Oh, absolutely.
How have I never seen Predator? You know, and Commando and all these sort of stuff. But yeah, I've really enjoyed that.
I know,
I've
there's so
actually
much-
had my mind blown in this episode.
Yeah,
a little
like
bit.
it's a nice trip down memory lane, and there's so much you forget about as well. It'd be interesting to see. I'd like to see what people say and what they bring, and what's
Absolutely.
anything that we've forgotten about. Because a lot of our listeners are similar age to us.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it'd be nice to see what everyone else thinks. Because there's probably loads we've forgotten about.
Of course there will be. So please drop. I mean, just before we go as well, Airplane was a big one for me.
So yeah, again, I didn't get any of that like that.
Oh, God, just that that outright foolishness, joke after joke. Like it's hard to keep up with the joke.
Like just one-liners, aren't they? Yeah.
I love the one-liners, you know, and you know we're missing a lot of stuff as well, which is probably pre us. So you're a lot of you like see no evil, hear no evil. The Monty Python stuff, like
Oh yeah,
these were all stuff that I came across older in
absolutely
life.
love all the Monty Python stuff. We had when I was probably late teens, got all the comedy. We watched all the Flying Circus, and I love that. But again, I wouldn't class that as our generational comedy.
No, absolutely not. So yeah, I've really enjoyed that one.
Me too.
So what should we get people to do? Should we get people to like us on social medias and stuff, I guess?
Probably.
Yeah, so go on Facebook and Instagram and X and all that lot and give us a little like and respond to us when we ask you questions and stuff so we can have a little chat with you.
Yeah.
And also, if you listen to us on Spotify, go ahead and just give us like a little 5-star review.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
Because it does bloody help, mate.
It
Because,
does.
Yeah, it pushes up them ranks a little bit. Share with your friends. Tell your friends to listen. And really enjoyed this one, mate. Because I was a little bit worried about this one because we just came in blind. I had an idea and I said, just roll with it. Because I like episodes where you're just like, fuck, I forgot about this. Oh my God, I forgot about that. So I've really enjoyed this one. So thank you very much for listening and we'll be with you next week. Peace.